Redskins with the number 5 rusher all-time, John Riggins. Will he lead the way again, or will it be newly acquired former Heisman winner George Rogers? For the Raiders, will they be led in '85 by veteran quarterback Jim Plunkett, or is this the season Mark Wilson finally becomes number 1? The scene, the Coliseum in Los Angeles, California, on a sunny 80-degree afternoon. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg and Merlin Olson. Twice the Coliseum has hosted the Super Bowl. This is a super season for us, all the way to New Orleans in January on NBC. And today, a numbers game. There's only 2 of us.
Well, there are 2 of us, but there are 28 teams in the league talking Super Bowl right now. These 2 teams, however, are legitimate contenders. You said it. They've been there. They've come away with their Super Bowl ring.
Hey, but you want numbers? You want numbers. There are 160 men in uniform today.
But not for long, Dick. 50 of the players on the field today will be cut on Tuesday. That puts an awful lot of pressure on players and coaches alike.
Speaking of reductions, the National Football League rosters this year, as you know, will be reduced from 49 to 45. That's a big 4- for every team in the league.
That is, and that means that some of the players on the field will be playing 2 positions. A lot of guys working on versatility so they can make the roster.
All right, 2 more numbers. John Riggins and George Rogers. Will we see Riggins today?
I asked Grego before the game, would you like to play today? How much would you like to be in there? And he said, zip.
Well, he just reported this week. Do you think he will play?
I think he'll play. You'll see him in there. And really what he was saying is that he's not quite ready to go full time, but signed a great contract, and he'll play.
And we're ready to go as Joe Gibbs watches Michael Morton back at the goal line, and teed up and ready to go Chris Barr, the veteran kicker of the Los Angeles Raiders, part of the Barr family. And we have some other interesting family notes during the course of our broadcast today. And from the Coliseum on a sunny day, we're underway. High, but to the 3. Michael Morton from University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and he is nailed at the 15, falls forward to the 17. Stephon Adams, a rookie cornerback from East Carolina, was primarily a receiver there and will play defensive back in the pro ranks. Let's check Joe Theismann in the Washington Redskin offense with those Hogs up front. Donnelly, Huff, and Grimm at the guards. Jacoby and May at tackle. On the double tight end set, Warren and Didier with Clark. They're looking at him, former USFL product, and 106 pass catches for Art Monk. Rogers will start behind Theismann, and he gets the call. George Rogers, acquired from the New Orleans Saints, to the 20-yard line, and a gain of about 3 against a Raider defense that aligns itself with some names that are mighty familiar. Alzado and Long, Kinlaw in the middle. Linebackers Martin, Nelson, Millen, and the veteran Brad Van Pelt. Haynes and Hayes at the corners, maybe the best set in the National Football League, and Davis and McElroy at safety. 2nd down, 7. Rogers off the left side. He's got 5. He's got 7. He's close to a 1st down. Running behind the huge left side of the line, Jacoby at 305 and Grimm the guard at 275.
Quickly testing number 77, Lyle Alzado. And I had a chance to see Alzado and Theismann in a conversation just before the game. I walked over and I said, now, Lyle, tell Joe what you were telling me earlier. And he said, oh, you mean about ripping his lips off again? Of course, Alzado, one of the most emotional players in the league, relatively calm before this game. But he'll get a test today, going up against Jacoby and against Russ Grimm. And, of course, the Redskins like running behind that huge, powerful side of their line.
Rogers just enough, as you saw, for the 1st down. Now, one of the new rules in 1985 to speed up the course of the game, the clock normally would stay out of play, stopped until the snap of the ball, but it is running now. As soon as the measurement was made and the linesmen ruling that the sticks are out of play, they wind the clock. 1st down, Washington at their own 27. Swing it out to Rogers, 30. 34-yard line and 7 more. Rogers, who did not catch the ball much as a Heisman winner at South Carolina nor at New Orleans, but may have to play that role with the Redskins.
Well, I'd certainly appreciate the talents, his running talents, more than his catching talents, but they'd love it if he could come on as a receiver. It's something he is working at. The Redskins minus 2 of their deep threats today. Calvin Muhammad left at home, dislocated finger. Charlie Brown, strained hamstring. Those are 2 of the deep ball threats. They don't have them here today.
Rogers 4 straight carries, and he's dropped short of the 1st down. Alzado, Nelson, and others in the center. Matt Millen also get a piece of the action, and Reggie Kinlaw. It'll be 3rd and short it would appear. Well, maybe not. It looks pretty close. They might have to call. Yes, they will measure. Joe Theismann beating the quarterback takes. He's always there to answer the bell.
Amazing physical shape. Talked about working very hard. It is a first down, as you see, and Theismann having a first down situation to work with. Talked about a very aggressive weightlifting program. Feels his strength is up to par. And we talk about football players having to have a lot of little boy in them. Theismann certainly does have a lot of little boy. He enjoys this game.
I'm talking about the emotional part of his game compared to last year. After this play, first down at the Redskin 37. Play action to Rogers. And then the ball thrown away by Theismann, intended for Didier, but he was well covered by Rod Martin. Last year at this time, Theismann was going through tough emotional times, divorce proceedings. How did he appear to you today?
Well, he certainly was relaxed. Said everything is under control, feels great about himself, feels great about the talent that he has to work with. And Dick, there's no question that if you have things bothering you, your concentration is not what it should be. That's got to affect your game. I'm sure Joe Gibbs is glad to see Joe back on track.
2nd and 10. Theismann in the shotgun. Oh, bad snap, and Theismann in trouble as Rod Martin drags him down at the 19. The Redskins and Theismann did not use the shotgun until the playoffs against the Bears last year.
And one of the difficulties adjusting to this kind of a set is getting that snap back properly. Rick Donnelly getting it over the head of Theismann. Theismann did a good job of corralling it, but Martin showing his quickness there. He just pounced on Theismann, gives him a third and massive situation.
And it's registered as a sack for Martin, the all-pro linebacker. 3rd down and 28. Whoops. Theismann got the ball, but no one else reacted except the men in the black jerseys. And we'll see just how they rule that penalty. Apparently against the Redskins, illegal motion.
Raiders will refuse that penalty, bring on the 4th down kicking situation, and will get the ball in good shape on this first down.
Clee Montgomery, we talked about the men who will try to win jobs on NFL rosters based on dual play, being able to do more than one thing. Montgomery has taken over for Greg Pruitt as the primary punt returner. He's also a wide receiver, and we may see him today as a running back. He stands at the Raider 40. Jeff Hayes. High kick. Montgomery. 50, 40, and finally down at the 30-yard line. Clee Montgomery.
And that was the punter, number 5, Jeff Hayes, who did a great job of getting over to put the primary hit on him.
No, the Raiders have the ball, no score. Not all the folks using them in Los Angeles, although this game is blacked out in this part of Southern California. The Redskins and Raiders no score. Tom Flory's Raiders set up at the Washington 35-yard line after a 27-yard punt return by Clee Montgomery. And there's Jim Plunkett and the Raider offense ready to go.
Jesse Hester, 84, first-round draft pick. He's someone that they're counting on. Great speed.
At 5'11", 170, the exact dimensions of Cliff Branch, the veteran wide receiver. The give to Frank Hawkins, and the big fullback has 8 yards. Curtis Jordan up from a safety spot to make the tackle. Let's look at the Raider offense. On the front line, Dalby, the veteran center, with Marvin and Hannah at guards, Lawrence and Jordan at tackle. Parker is Andy Parker, the tight end, but he's not starting. It'll be Trey Junk and Barnwell, and Hester, the rookie #1 draft pick of the Raiders, at the wideouts. Hawkins and Marcus Allen behind Jim Plunkett. 2nd down 2. Marcus Allen trips as he runs into a lot of white jerseys. Tried to reverse himself, but lost his footing, and Rich Malott there to ground him for a loss of a yard or 2. Marcus Allen. He ran the ball only 5 times last week against the 49ers for 8 yards. Mike Rogers, a Heisman winner in his 3 years with the Raiders, 697 yards, 1,014 yards, 1,168 yards, and he can do so many things.
And the Raiders quietly settled what could have been a problem, gave him a new contract, and Marcus is happy and will play more today than he did last week.
3rd and 5. Plunkett's first throw has a man open. It's the tight end, Andy Parker. And Parker inside the 25 for a first down, a 7-yard game. Todd Christensen, the all-pro tight end for the Raiders, will not play today. There's the defense for the Redskins with Butts and Grant inside, Mann and Manley outside. The linebackers Kaufman and Malott, the outside backers with Neil Olkowitz in the middle. Green and Dean at the corners, Peters and Jordan at safety. Of course, the loss of Ken Coffey, a knee injury last week against Atlanta. Tough blow for that deep defense of Washington. Ball done beautifully by Plunkett to Malcolm Barnwell at the 17-yard line. Barnwell from Virginia Union, Richmond, Virginia, and he had a big year last season.
A lot of conversation about Raider quarterbacks. A lot of critics asking about Plunkett. Can he still play? Well, certainly these first two passes he's thrown indicating that Plunkett is indeed on target. And if he can stay healthy, that was his big problem last year. Tore stomach muscles and really could not go.
Short yardage on the first down pass. Now it's Marcus Allen drawing a crowd and dropped for a loss at the 25. Olkowitz, the #1 tackler of the Skins last year. Veteran from Maryland, right there, nose to nose with Allen.
Well, this is a team that is difficult to run the ball against. In fact, over the last 2 seasons, the toughest team in the NFL to run against. Last year finished 2nd in the league against the rush. That 4-man alignment is really tough to run against. And Torgy Torgerson, who coaches that defensive line, will tell you that his people are trained to stop the run first and then go after the passer.
Third wide receiver is Doki Williams with Hawkins out and only Allen behind Plunkett. On 3rd down. Plunkett extricating himself and stumbling forward to a first down. Well, those 37-year-old legs are just mobile enough.
Jim Plunkett, not quick of foot, not a graceful quarterback, but has always had the ability to sift his way through the pocket. And I think there's a little fear here. He can hear those big linemen coming in behind him. Charles Mann, 71, got a piece of him, but he got away. Dave Butts, 65, one of the biggest men on the field, pushing hard inside. He's being blocked right there by Mickey Marvin, 65, who does a fine job of staying with him. That's excellent pass blocking by number 65, Marvin.
And Plunkett scrambling to the first down at the Skins' 12-yard line. No score midway through the first quarter in Los Angeles. Plunkett drilling to Allen. Allen is out of bounds at the 1 or 2-yard line. Rich Malott denied the touchdown, but it's a 1st and goal apparently for the Raiders.
Dipsy-do on the sideline by Marcus. He had nowhere to go, still gave a move and dove inside to make a little extra yardage.
Here it is again as Allen, again, his triple threat abilities. He can run, he can receive, and he can pass too if you need that. 1st and goal at the 1-yard line. 8th play of the series since Montgomery's 27-yard punt return. Allen over the top for the touchdown. Oh, he knows the way. Allen in 44 regular season games has scored, check that, 41 regular season games, scored 44 times. He knows how to put points on the board.
Going down to field level, you'll feel Marcus Allen coming right at you. Look how high he got in the air. Takes a hit by Tony Peters, number 23, but already well into the end zone.
Chris Barr to try the point after. Mark Wilson to hold. And the Raiders lead it 7-0. 7 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in the first quarter in Los Angeles. Setting up that quick touchdown scored by Marcus Allen from a yard out, and the Raiders lead 7-0 with 7 minutes 25 seconds left in the first quarter. Michael Morton, released by Tampa Bay, picked up by the Redskins in this past week. Kick by Barr, skidding around and trouble now as Morton finally picks it up, runs into his own man, and is down at the 7-yard line. Wave of Raiders to cover him, led by Sam Seal. And we talked about dual roles. Seal, a wide receiver, is going to play defensive back this year.
And right at the beginning of this play, they were in trouble as one of the men out of the wedge steps back to try and help there. The ball dropped finally to the ground. Morton gets it, but runs right into 64. That's Hamilton, Steve Hamilton. That literally almost dropped him to the ground, almost made the tackle on his own teammate. That's a bit embarrassing.
46 Vincent Hall was a man that got his hands on the ball initially for Washington. Theismann to Rogers, plowing ahead for about 4. George Washington Rogers Jr. I guess Washington D.C. is a place for him to play. It's interesting that last year at New Orleans, Bum Phillips brought Earl Campbell over to challenge Rogers. Now here's Rogers to Washington challenging John Riggins.
I talked to him in the locker room before the game, and both he and Riggins are apparently excited about this competition, Dick. I think it's going to be good for them. It's a new start for Rogers.
2nd down and 6. Theismann, and a fine catch on the near sidelines at the 18-yard line by Clint Didier, who, of course, at Portland State up to the north was the top receiver of Neil Lomax, the quarterback of the Cardinals. Mike Davis made the tackle.
Didier, one of that breed of new tight ends. Great speed. A man who can run about a 4.45. Now, that is incredible speed for a man with that kind of physical bulk. You see him there making a nice cut. Here's the pressure that they're applying to Theismann. Howie Long, number 75, getting the benefit of a double team. Mark May and Ken Huff both working on the big defensive end to keep him away from their quarterback.
About 7 yards on the play for the first down. Didier, the H-back or motion back. Rogers up the middle for 3 hard-earned yards.
Dick,
McElroy coming up from safety to help out.
This Washington Redskin team loves to throw the quick pass, the timing pattern. Coach Gibbs is one who really believes that it's difficult when you can confuse a defense, and they'll show a lot of motion. We won't see all of it today because this is preseason, but no team in the league works as many people into the pattern as the Redskins do, and they hit those patterns very, very quickly. Theismann is a real genius at throwing the ball that way.
2 wide receivers to the left, and Rogers up the middle. Well, you can hear the contact as Rogers denied the 25-yard line. Howie Long and Reggie Kinlaw shoulder to shoulder on the stop.
The Hogs are the most famous offensive linemen in all of football. They have the notoriety which they earned. 66 Joe Jacoby, 68 Russ Grimm, 2 consensus All-Pros, and you watch them just moving in tandem, little cross blocking going on in the middle of the line. But there are some real crunching blows being delivered down there today.
It's a long 3 on 3rd down. Receiver fell as he made his cut, Art Monk, and there to cover for the Raiders. Bill Pickell was applying the pressure, and Mike Haynes with his excellent coverage.
Pickell playing more and more because of his pass rushing abilities. Let's look at this play. Theismann just unloading that football under pressure. He really threw it away. But even then, a quick reaction by Monk to the outside. He saw that ball coming and tried to get back to it. His feet went out from underneath him, or he might have had a chance.
Hayes to kick from around his 15. Montgomery back at the Raider 35.
Not a good snap.
Beautiful kick. To the 29. Montgomery able to pull it back at the 33. And a flag is down. 46-yard punt. A perfect spiral off the foot of Jeff Hayes. Let's check the penalty call.
Now, the way that flag was thrown, it could be a penalty against the Raiders, in which case that would be costly because it would give the Redskins the football back.
Ben Drive, the referee, holding Raiders. That will be a first down, and Washington will maintain half in height, and the Redskins averaging nearly 280 pounds a man in that interior line.
Dick, that's such a difference today. The size of players today, absolutely amazing to me. When I came into football, I weighed 275 pounds. I was so much bigger than most of the players in the league. Now I just kind of fit into those 2 offensive lines.
And it's not the weight that has really changed so much as the height. The offensive linemen almost 6'5", used to be 6'1", 6'2", and now they're so tall.
Their speed has also changed. They're very quick as well as big.
Raiders, after the 10-yard penalty, start from the 22, leading 7-0. Good protection. Dump off to Allen. And Marcus Allen has a first down at the 33-yard line. A pickup of 11. Neil Olkowitz made the tackle.
One of the things that Tom Flores talked about when we visited with him yesterday was speeding up some of their pass patterns. The Raiders traditionally have thrown more deep patterns than any team in football, and that means putting a lot of pressure on the offensive line. They're trying this year to throw some quicker patterns, and I think concentrating on getting that ball out of there, dumping it off like that to a Marcus Allen if those deep patterns are not open, and he knows what to do with it, believe me.
Indeed. Hawkins stumbling and then running right into 77 Darrell Grant, the 5-year veteran from Rice. You know, going back to the previous play, Marcus Allen, there's a case where you do the little fake, the obvious fake to Marcus Allen, so everyone draws back figuring that's all it is, and then you just let him ease his way in front of the linebackers. Marcus Allen, this has been his home for a long time. Star at Southern California, the Trojans, and now with the Raiders. Now you know why Allen says he's getting claustrophobic. He said, every time I go on the field, there's a crowd around me. Boy, they're really measuring number 32. A loss of 3.
Excellent job by this Redskin defense. Looking at that Redskin defense, they are concerned about their defensive secondary, and you mentioned the loss of Coffey last week, certainly critical, but we're going to see a youngster later on today by the name of Raphael Cherry that has this whole Redskin organization buzzing. They just can't say enough about the kind of hitting he's doing, and they are very excited. They need that kind of youth to beef up this defensive secondary.
3rd down and 12 facing Plunkett. Look at the full blitz on. They pick it up well, and incomplete. Jesse Hester, the Raiders' #1 draft pick, isolated on Vernon Dean. Boy, what a good job so early in the year to pick up that 2 safety blitzes coming on, and the Raider line did a good job.
And that may indicate one of the rule changes this year. They're not being as critical about the defenders putting one hand on those receivers if they don't interfere with the receiver. You saw Dean coming in quickly to clamp that down, actually got his left hand on Hester before the ball arrived, but clearly it was the right hand that knocked the ball away.
Veteran Ray Guy now in his 13th year. Mike Nelms, one of the top kick returners in the NFL, stands at the Washington 27. He hangs it inside the 25, right at the 25. Nelms on the sidelines, and a return to the 33 of the Redskins. And we have a timeout, 44 yards on the punt. It's 7-0 Raiders with 3 minutes left in the first quarter. Rings 7-0 as Raiders lead as Theismann off play action, going for the bomb to Art Monk. He's got it at the 25-yard line. Monk, a sensational catch, and what a throw by Theismann under pressure.
An absolutely perfect pass by Joe Theismann. Monk covered all the way beautifully, one-on-one by Lester Hayes. Theismann just challenging that outstanding cornerback. He's knocked right off his feet by Matt Millen, 55. Now watch this pass. Man-to-man coverage. You see Hayes playing the man until the last second and just missed the ball right there with that outstretched hand. Monk, amazing concentration, and boy, he proves it every week, doesn't he, Dick?
Oh my. 43 yards on the play. The man who caught 106 last year to set a new NFL record. George Rogers hemmed in. No gain. And a little skirmish, one of many that we might expect during the course of the afternoon.
These teams have played a number of games together, and being physical teams, and both these teams are physical teams, they'll go right after each other. This, of course, one of the fine linebackers in all of football, 53, Rod Martin. Watch him coming in from the backside on George Rogers there. Now that's the kind of pursuit that you've got to have from the good linebacker. He's got to pinch it down and narrow up those holes.
Rogers, the lone running back behind Theismann on second and a long 10. He catches the pass again in the flat and is able to get out of bounds about the 22-yard line. Short gain, but again under pressure. Theismann just getting that ball to his running back Rogers, who's 2 for 2 in the reception column.
Watch Martin again. Now Martin coming quickly on the blitz here has pass responsibility. Look at him flare to the outside. Uh-oh, that's my man. But look at the finesse on that pass by Theismann. just dropping it gently over the head of Rod Martin. And a good job of catching the ball. Rogers showing some receiving ability here, as you mentioned, Dick.
Although short yardage, that has to be very encouraging. That makes the attack all the more effective. Passing down, 3rd and 8. Rolling out. And throwing it away. Art Monk was well covered. Van McElroy had a blanket on him. And Matt Millen was applying the pressure, as he has throughout the first quarter, on Theismann.
The competitive nature of Joe Theismann. We said there's a lot of little boy. I'll tell you, there's a fierce competitor inside of that body. He hates it when he can't get it in the end zone. Right here, has time to throw that football, but realized it was just too dangerous. He's going to walk away. Yeah, he's frustrated, I'll tell you that.
Tony Zendejas, who played here at the Coliseum with the LA Express of the USFL, out of Theismann's hold, a 37-yard block. Partially, and it is no good. Looked like someone might have gotten a hand on it. 39 yards was the distance, and it was wide to the right. Zendejas in a skirmish with Mark Mosley in a very heated battle for the place-kicking position on this Redskin team.
Let's see if we can see what happened in there. Good pressure coming from the outside. That's number 43, Sammy Seal. We talked about him trying to make this roster as a defensive back after being a wide receiver last year. Leaping in there. Couldn't tell, Dick, whether he got his hand on it, but he certainly did force Zendejas to look at him as he penetrated in there.
So the kick is wide. There's Zendejas and Mosley, and the veteran Mosley, his job in jeopardy. They've not exactly been friends. They certainly are heated rivals going for that one position. Marcus Allen, 4 tough yards. It's 2nd and 6 as we check this Sunday in baseball in the major leagues. Toronto here down south with the Gene Autry's California Angels in their 25th anniversary year and managing to stay in first place in the West. And we'll see them next Saturday here on NBC against the Tigers. Marcus Allen just a step shy of breaking that one. He was stumbling forward into open territory when Tony Peters made that hit down at the 29. It'll be short of the first down, 3rd and about 3.5, as a change defensively for Washington.
Redskins will put in their pass defensive unit, trying to get a little more pressure on the quarterback, a little more speed into that secondary and into that linebacking situation.
Well, they'll have some time to think about it at the end of the quarter. The Raiders leading 7-0.
Hits and excited about finally getting to break camp. Won't be too much longer.
3rd down and 3.5 for Plunkett. Down the middle, complete to Hester. First down at the Redskin 46-yard line. Vernon Dean made the tackle of Hester, the star receiver at Florida State last year. 25 yards on the play.
They call Hester the Jet. And Plunkett, that was an interesting pass. Had to throw it before he was ready to throw. And he has an uncanny ability to get that pass off with bad timing and still put it in a place where it could be caught. Hester doing a good job of getting up high to beat Vernon Dean for the ball.
And he has blazing speed. He anchored the sprint relay team with the Seminoles. First down to Marcus Allen. 45, 40, 39 goes Allen, and he took quite a blow to the helmet and gets up slowly. Tom Flores. Will it be Plunkett? Or will it be Marcus or Mark Wilson? Well, we're going to get his answer right after the play. 39-yard line they spot it. 6 yards for Allen. Tom Flores, now 48 years of age. One of the original quarterbacks with the Raiders in Oakland, playing at Frank Ewell Field up there in the Bay. And you can't tell those folks up there they're the Los Angeles Raiders. They still call them the Oakland Raiders. Plunkett wide open and incomplete as Malcolm Barnwell, and he was open by a couple of strides getting behind Darrell Green. Well, Coach Flores, a quarterback himself. How about it, Plunkett or Mark Wilson this year?
Well, the quarterback situation is always one that gets a lot of attention. Right now, Jim Plunkett is #1. Mark Wilson is #2. Rusty Hilger is #3. Jim is a remarkable guy, but we're very confident that he and Mark can get the job done for us, and Rusty Hilger is potentially part of our future.
Well, I'm just a fan, but Merlin, I think that's the most critical part of this Raider year and their hopes for getting back to the Super Bowl.
I'd have to agree, Dick.
Marcus Allen caught in the backfield, and fortunate he didn't fumble, as racing through was number 22, Curtis Jordan, from a safety spot.
Players at different positions have different opportunities to affect the outcome of the game. No one affects it more than the quarterbacks. Let's look at those stats. Rushing yardage, not impressive on either side. Redskins with the edge, certainly an edge in their passing department in the first quarter, although that may change with the long receptions by the Raiders. Total yardage, not bad for a first quarter. Possession time in favor of the Redskins, but the big stat, as far as I'm concerned, what's on the board, and the Raiders have the edge.
That was set up by the punt return that gave them a start at the 34-yard line of the Redskins. So it was a short touchdown drive. Mike Nelms back at the 10. Guy sliding it off his foot, and that's going to be marked up around the 15-yard line, 13-yard line, they say.
Well, sometimes even the bad ones are good. That one taking the short route out of bounds.
With Merlin Olson, Dick Enberg, welcome back to the Coliseum in Los Angeles. 12:39 remaining in the half. The Redskins and Joe Theismann trying to equal the count, trailing 7-0. Theismann comes out throwing, and a fumble, or no, incomplete pass is the call. Rodgers did not have control.
That's the kind of pass that I alluded to earlier, a timing pattern. Receiver Wansley just breaking down the middle and pulling inside, and Theismann rifling a quick shot, and that's thrown to a spot on the field. Boy, those are tough to defend against defensively.
Wansley, 39, unable to wrap that one up, teaming with Rodgers, 38. Oh, Theismann for the first time using 2 backs deep in his own end. Art Monk in motion. Theismann. Rodgers hit immediately by Brad Van Pelt. No gain, maybe a loss. Joe Gibbs, Riggins or Rodgers?
Well, I think competition is going to take care of that. I feel very fortunate there as a coach. You got 2 great runners, put them in, let them play. I think they both feel the same way about it. Neither one of these guys, they just want to help the club. And I know John said that, and certainly George does. So that's a great situation for us.
Great situation. Sometimes that heavy competition creates bad feelings, and the season will develop, and we'll find out how well it does work for Washington. 3rd and long for Theismann. A flag is down, and Theismann running for his life. Now he's bought some time, or has he? Oh, what an open field tackle by Greg Townsend. He's 240, 250 pounds chasing down Theismann.
A flag down on the field, a holding call, and this will be an interesting decision for the Raiders. They've got the sack and the loss. They'll get half the distance on the hold. They may elect to refuse this penalty. Let's look at the pressure on Theismann. Piquel, 71, coming in. The blitz from the outside. But right here, that's Squarick and Piquel. Down. John Jones. They're after him. And here is Townsend, the speed you alluded to, stride for stride with Theismann, who is not a slow quarterback by any means.
Shows you why Townsend off the bench has 18.5 sacks the last 2 years. They decline the penalty. And from deep in his own end zone, Jeff Hayes will try to root one out of there. Clay Montgomery stands at the Washington 47. Not a good kick. Very short. And bounces out of bounds at the 33-yard line. So Hayes and a flag down in the end zone. 26-yard punt if.
I think there's a penalty against the Redskins. Now that's interesting. Will the Raiders take that? That's an awful kick for Hayes. Now, he'd had 2 bad snaps prior to this. That may have affected his confidence.
If that's a penalty in the end zone against the Redskins, that will be a safety. Ben Greith has yet to explain. He's going to bring it back, or at least go to the spot of the foul, as Greg Williams argues the Redskins case. 9-0 lead, and we'll get the ball on the free kick.
Well, a little excitement here.
So the Raiders able to get 2 quick ones, and they'll get the ball back when we return to Clay Montgomery, and he is drilled at the 44-yard line of the Raiders. Let's go back to the safety, and this is how a #1 pick gives up 2 points. 31, the #1 pick of the Redskins, Torrey Nixon.
He's actually picked in the 2nd round, but he's their #1 pick, and here you see him just grabbing a jersey, I think believing that the official couldn't see it. Ben Dreith right on the spot, threw the yellow flag. 2 points, and again, Jeff Hayes is not having a good day. That was a lousy kick, and he had all the time in the world to go ahead and deliver that ball. Kicked short. The Raiders again with good field position just inside the 45-yard line.
Leading 9-0 with 11:04 left in the first half. Plunkett goes to work. He's going for 6 more, and he's got a man open. Jesse Hester, the Jet, has 6. Flag is down, and Hester will have to refuel. They've called it against the Raiders. A perfect execution nevertheless, as the Raiders show the vertical game. What did Tom Flores tell us yesterday? We drafted for speed.
Well, they wanted the speed, and they got it, not only in Hester but also in Tim Moffitt. Here is Hester. He's the guy, the Jet, that they wanted, and they just give him a little outside move and put him straight up the field. And you see him there getting that break. He's out in front. That's Torrey Nixon, who just got burned for that penalty, getting burned back to back. Boy, that's not the way you want to have your name mentioned.
9 points in 2 seconds.
However, the holding penalty, and you saw it at the top of your screen there, brings it back.
10-yard mark off. Fumble by Allen. Was he able to scrape it back into possession?
I don't think so. I think that ball went over to Washington. Let's give the officials a chance, though.
Allen's got quick hands as well as quick feet.
A little magic down there.
The Raiders guilty of 5 fumbles last week in their 28-21 loss to San Francisco, and they were guilty of the fumbles so often last year. It was one of the real bad marks on their record.
Turnovers, that's something they really want to whip here in '85. It was the cause of many of their defeats last year, and you mentioned it. A real hassle last week for them against the 49ers.
Going long for Barnwell, and broken up neatly at the last minute. A good defensive play.
Curtis Jordan, 22.
J.C. Pearson in on the play also. Pearson, a rookie from the University of Washington, free agent.
Ball thrown high. They're really challenging. That is Plunkett not afraid to go to a man who's got a defender right on top of him. You saw Theismann do it early. Plunkett, he was sure that one should have been caught.
He's throwing the ball extremely well throughout this first half.
He certainly is, very accurately.
Dokie Williams and Malcolm Barnwell to the right side. 3rd and long. Plenty of time. Down the field for Allen, and nearly intercepted. Allen complaining that he was bumped early, but to no avail, and Guy and the kicking team comes on for the Raiders.
There's Rafael Cherry, this youngster quarterback at Hawaii last year. They are just excited about the kind of performance. He put some hits on people last week that still have people buzzing. They're so excited about him, not only because of that, but because he has such a good defensive nose for the game.
Well, and a way to explain best, I guess, for the longtime fan as to what kind of player he is, he said Jack Tatum. He's a new Jack Tatum. He's a hitter. Guy to punt. Mike Nelms inside the Washington 25. Oh, does he drive that one? Oh, look at that one. And it goes into the end zone. What a kick by Guy. 64 yards. Had he had the whole field to work with, that one could have been something very special. It'll come out on a net of 44 to the 20-yard line. Going back to Cherry.
Really put them in a position where they have to have performances from these youngsters.
The loss of Ken Coffey. That's Don Warren, who played his college ball to the south at San Diego State, picking up around 8 yards before Stacy Turan can make the tackle. 2nd down and 2. It's interesting. Cherry is from here in Los Angeles. He played at Washington High School at the same time here in Los Angeles. They had a Strawberry and a Cherry. Darryl Strawberry went on to star with the Mets, and Cherry to Hawaii, and Washington's figuring him to be quite a player. George Rogers has a first down, but a fumble as well at the 33. As they unpile, is this another break for the Raiders? Rogers had a fumble last week in the Atlanta game. You see pulling at that ball number 94 Reggie McKenzie, and that's one of the interesting stories in this game today. Just putting on his helmet, Reggie McKenzie, and his twin brother is on the Redskins roster as an offensive lineman, also wearing number 94. Twins at Tennessee last year.
Identical twins. There you go. There's the signal by the officials.
So the Redskins maintain possession.
Here's Reggie McKenzie in action from an inside linebacking position. One of the things they like about him is his squareness. They mean by squareness the ability to stay square, just like a ball carrier in short yardage, wanting to keep those shoulders square. And there are the two brothers. You can see the very much a identical twin situation. And I asked him if their mother would be worried about them hitting each other. He said, no, we beat on each other all the time at home. She'll be glad we're wearing pads.
To Keith Griffin. You talk about families and names. How about the Griffins, Archie and Ray Griffin, and their brother Keith, who did not go to Ohio State but to Miami of Florida, who was part of that '83 NCAA championship. Howard Schnellenberger and the Miami Hurricanes. 408 yards as a rookie last year with the Skins. He too had that fumble problem, didn't he?
His main task this year has been to reinstill some confidence in him from Coach Joe Gibbs. Joe will not tolerate the fumbling, and he's made it known. So far, Griffin doing a good job on that count.
2nd and 7. Griffin threw a big hole to the 41-yard line. That'll leave him a yard short of a first down. We have 8 minutes and 10 seconds left in the first half. The Raiders with a 1-yard touchdown by Marcus Allen and a safety, with holding called by the Redskins on a punt in the end zone to lead 9-0.
Short yardage situation. Big backs in. Let's see if they do go in behind that big left side of that offensive line.
Out of the eye.
No.
Wansley leading the way for Rogers, who has the first down. He picks up 2 to the 43, and the Redskins have 4 more downs with which to work.
They are so pleased with the performance of Wansley, not only as a blocking back. He's like an extra guard in there when he comes up, and certainly when you have a back with the kind of strength and power of Rogers pulling in behind him, awfully tough on a defense.
Yeah, something. It was only a 2-yard gain, but did you see how quickly Rogers got off the blocks? Boy, he has a quick first step, and that's something that excites the Redskins. Art Monk in motion. First down from the 43. Keith Griffin into a pile of black and silver. Very little, maybe a yard.
One of the pieces of speculation, Dick, out of Washington is the question of will they use Rogers and Riggins in the same backfield. Now, 2 horses that big, but neither one of them really is much of a blocker.
Riggins noted that right away. Says, I don't like to block, and I don't think he can, so I hope we only are in there at the same time. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is WNBC TV, New York.
2nd and 9 for the Redskins. Make that 2nd and 4. Sean Jones in his 2nd year from Northeastern, leaning into the center, Rick Donnelly.
The Raiders love big players. Sean Jones, huge. They'd like him to be the replacement for Lyle Alzado. Alzado getting a little bit long in the tooth. Still a very emotional player, but this young man coming out of a program that really was not known for great football, has made big strides, needs to make more before he can really take over that responsibility at right defensive end.
6'7" and 265 pounds is Sean Jones, who was born in Kingston, Jamaica. Wansley struggling to midfield. That'll be about 3rd and 4. Greg Townsend, another bright young defensive lineman for the Raiders, made the tackle.
We talked about youngsters fighting to make a position and earn the right to stay on the roster. Reggie McKenzie, inside linebacker, getting a chance to show his stuff, fighting off a good block by Wansley inside to get a piece of that tackle. So important to have that kind of determination, not to have your feet taken out from underneath you.
He had 8 tackles last week against the 49ers, far and away the most by any Raider. Theismann to Rodgers, incomplete. No flags. And apparently the Redskins will have to give up the ball again. Jack Squirick, talk about dual roles. Squirick, the linebacker, will have to play both inside and outside. That's another compensation made. Actually, the Raiders have 4 players working on more than one position. That's the 4-man difference from 49 to 45.
Let's see if Hayes can get a better punt off this time. His average is not bad, but he has had 2 very bad punts, one on the free kick and one on the safety, which would not show on that average.
Montgomery inside the Raider 15. That's a good one. Fair catch at the 8-yard line. You saw Montgomery waving his hand. If you just stand and hold it straight up, that doesn't count. You got to wave it this year in the NFL. Kathy Lee Crosby. Joe likes big earrings too, I guess. She's here to take some shots of her favorite man from the 8-yard line. Derek Jensen. He's the 4th player on the Raider roster. 2 positions. He'll play tight end, and he's back at running back, and that's his dual role. Hester in motion. Marcus Allen slamming out to the 10-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 8.
I think we often blame people who probably don't deserve all of the blame. Jeff Hayes having to pick that snap up off the ground. This is Mike Wooten snapping today, and of course Jeff Bostic has done that job so well over the years for the Redskins. They're hoping to get him back. He's recovering from serious knee surgery last year, and we may see a quarterback back there snapping to the punter today. Jay Schrader actually does a better job of snapping than Wooten does. That may happen before the day's out.
Well, with the roster down to 45, you can't afford the luxury of just having a man who can only snap.
Well, the more things you can do, the more valuable you are.
Lots of audibilizing, and 2nd and 7. Andy Parker, the tight end, and a 1st down out at the 25-yard line. 14 yards on the play. Parker from the University of Utah played 9 games last year with the Raiders, but did not have a catch. Barry Wilburn, one of the rookies the Redskins are very pleased about. He was an 8th-round pick out of Mississippi. Wilburn, wearing 45, made the tackle.
Well, he really has his work cut out for him today. Richie Pettibone has moved him back to safety. He's been playing cornerback. Now, this is a tough system. The Washington defensive system, extremely complicated. So Barry Wilburn really having his hands full with a change of assignment and playing responsibility today.
Here's Clee Montgomery as a running back, and he's nailed at the 27-yard line. We told you that Montgomery, he's going to have to wear a lot of different hats. Punt returner, kick returner, wide receiver, and running back. And his value, his versatility, undoubtedly will win him a spot on the Raider roster again this year. He comes out, and Marcus Allen replaces him. 2nd down and 8. 3:40 remaining in the first half here at the Coliseum. Though thus far, all Raiders 9-0. But certainly not an insurmountable lead. Allen. Neil Oklowitz spearheading the defensive charge, slowed down underneath by Dean Hamill, a 12th-round pick out of Tulsa.
The Washington Redskins shifting their lineup somewhat, have a 2nd defensive line in there. Todd Liebenstein at left end, Dean Hamill at left tackle, and Perry Brooks right tackle, Steve Hamilton at right end. And they say that Hamill is a wild man. In fact, they've nicknamed him what, Tasmanian Devil?
Former Tulsa Hurricane. He had a piece of Allen on that one. Allen 11 carries for 11 yards today, and a touchdown, a 1-yard dive. 3rd and 7. Plunkett wide open is Hester, and they shirt tail him down at the 45. 1st down and 18 more yards for Hester.
Well, when you're a youngster, you're going to get tested back there, and they're trying to find out if Rafael Cherry is as good as they said he was. Here he's dropping deep, and anytime you see two defenders covering that small a piece of the turf, you know somebody's got a problem. That's J.C. Pearson, number 26. And those two youngsters just trying to feel their way back there a little bit. That's obviously a mistake, and that's something the Redskin coaches defensively anticipated. They said, we're not going to be beautiful out there. We're making adjustments. But you still get angry when you see it.
Good play action by Plunkett, and then dumping it off to Derek Jensen. And the veteran from Texas Arlington is into Washington territory. 9 yards to the 46-yard line, and with it, we have the 2-minute warning. 1:53 left in the half. The Raiders leading 9-0 and have the ball second and short, about a yard at the 46-yard line. And Plunkett working against 4 rookie defensive backs: Wilburn, Pearson, Cherry, and Nixon for the Redskins. Clay Montgomery for a loss of a couple, as Wilburn came up from the corner to make the tackle. Number 45 from Mississippi. Baseball today, Toronto defeated Kansas City while the Yankees beat Boston, so no change in the American League East. The A's lead the Angels 1-0 in the third. Of course, the Angels could gain a game knowing that Toronto has beaten Kansas City. Final, Pittsburgh over the Mets 5-0. 9th inning, they're tied, the Expos at St. Louis, and no score early at Candlestick Park, the Dodgers and the Giants. And we have a timeout, 1:25 left in the half. To quarterback the Raiders in the second half, but Plunkett with the luxury of working against an all-rookie foursome in the Redskins secondary. How many of those guys might make this Washington team?
Quite possibly 3 rookies could make this defensive secondary. They probably won't be starters, at least initially, although Cherry may work his way into that lineup. But they really like Wilburn. And Nixon, who has had a couple of problems today, is also coming on. Late getting to camp. He held out for a while. But all 3 of those youngsters have an excellent opportunity to make this final roster.
1:25 left in the half. Marcus Allen. And Wilburn intercepts at the 23. Chased by Barnwell. Looking for a block. Oh, what a block at the 40. And Wilburn out of bounds at the 45-yard line. And a sensational block helping him out, Neil Olkowitz. Oh, my.
Well, those linebackers love to hit. Shelby Jordan, number 74, doing his job, coming from behind. But let's go back to the start of this play. The run pass from Marcus Allen, off timing. The ball is badly thrown. Marcus is a good thrower, but he threw that one badly. Now watch number 74 coming into your picture at the top of your screen. Olkowitz will come out of nowhere and wham! Right, oh, that hurts from up here, Dick.
Finally, Charlie Hanna chased down Wilburn, and the rookie certainly distinguished himself on that play. Crowd reacting to that vicious block on the replay. First down for Theismann, so the Redskins have a chance to make it close before the half. First down at the 46. That's exactly where Plunkett had it when the interception occurred. To the 50-yard line, short yardage. Ted Wops wraps up Clint Didier, and the Redskins will hurry back to the line of scrimmage as the clock now under a minute.
Hurry up offense in gear. Theismann looked like he was going for the shotgun, but he's up underneath.
Complete, and breaking a tackle on the far side is Keith Griffin, and Griffin with the first down at the Raider 37-yard line. This is the best penetration by the Redskins today.
There's a man who does a lot of his own work with the ball in hand. Not today. That's Cliff Branch. Branch on the sideline for the Raiders. Veteran wide receiver, not in uniform, and one of those who might end up a casualty of that reduced roster, Dick.
Well, Branch sensational in his previous 13 years with the Raiders. 500 catches and 67 touchdowns, but did not have a touchdown all last year. It well could be his final season. Pete Axelm with us here in Los Angeles. Wonder what he's thinking about.
Get one here will be Mosley's chance.
First down as the Redskins spent one of their timeouts. Theismann going long. Incomplete at the 10, and a flag is down. That'll be interference. The pass intended for Gary Clark, and it appeared to be Otis McKinney that bumped him.
I believe it was Stephon Adams, wasn't it? Is it 24 or 23? No,
yeah,
you're
they
right.
both were there.
23. Now 24. It's this Stephon Adams again, a rookie. Man-to-man coverage. Now this is off.
Pass interference number 24. That's a
right
first
there,
down.
putting the hands into the chest, and that's such a savvy play by Theismann. Knowing he's got a rookie out there, he put the ball inside where the receiver had to come back and get it. And that's a touchy play for a wide receiver and for a defensive back. Almost impossible not to rough the receiver in that situation.
Touchy indeed. 25 yards for the touch and a first down. From the 13, Theismann lofting the ball incomplete, and another flag down. Keith Griffin, no question, he was bumped as he went into the pass pattern. Ball was in the air, and he got a shove.
Legal bump by Matt Millen, but Theismann got the ball in the air so quick.
Pass interference 55, and that's a first down.
Now again, if you bump a receiver when the ball is in the air, even if it's a legal bump, you've got a penalty, and that's exactly the case here. Theismann getting that ball in the air as he dropped back, and Matt Millen thinking he made a safe shot on Keith Griffin, did not get it done.
So on consecutive plays, penalties against the Raiders, accumulated 30 yards for the Redskins, and it's first and goal at the 8-yard line. Art Monk setting up on the far side. Didier in motion. Theismann. Touchdown, Don Warren. And the Redskins come back to 9-6 and have a chance to pull within 2 before the break.
Typical of the kind of movement, the kind of motion that the Redskins will use to try and confuse the secondary.
And it is good. And how quickly that changed, Merlin. Plunkett, working against an all-rookie secondary, had the ball in Washington territory, leading 9-0, and suddenly, instead of it being 16-0, it's 9-7 the other way.
Joe Theismann showing us a little bit of his cool and his experience as he manipulated a couple of rookies on his own to help his cause.
And it was a rookie, Wilburn, who made the quick...
Miami Dolphins perform well, but they need that youngster's powerful arm if they're really going to be back in the driver's seat as they were last year in the AFC.
Last week against the 49ers, the Raiders twice successfully worked the onside kick. We'll see if the Redskins try it with 22 seconds left.
One of the advantages that Zendejas has in his battle with Mosley for the place kicking position is that he is a good kickoff artist. Mosley really doesn't get the ball that deep. Let's see where Zendejas puts it.
Line drives it down to Sammy Seal, 20, 25, 30, and Seal out to the 33-yard line.
Well, I think deliberately line driving to keep the return from setting up.
Joe Phillips, a wide receiver, made the tackle. Each team has had 29 plays from scrimmage, and Theismann's throw to Don Warren has pulled the Redskins within 9-7. Theismann as in Heisman, as they said at Notre Dame, as they boosted his chances with Rhyme, but he finished second to the man that he opposes today, Jim Plunkett. That was back in 1970. With 17 seconds left in the half, too much time taken by Plunkett. That'll cost him 5.
Offense, delay the game.
Doesn't figure that we'll see Flores taking any chances now that it's 9-7 and the Raiders push back another 5.
Well, you don't think so, and yet the Raiders have never been a team to shy from throwing the ball deep, even on occasions when it didn't seem to be well advised, and often they're successful doing it.
Barnwell to the right and Hester to the left. Clee Montgomery ripped down at the 31-yard line. Good hit by Dean Hamill. He's 6'3" and 275. 24-year-old rookie from Tulsa. Penalties a factor today, and usually with the Raiders that is the case. 60 yards against the Raiders, 7 against Washington, as the first half is history here at the Coliseum in Los Angeles. And the scoreboard reads the Raiders 9 and And the Washington Redskins 7. Recapping the scoring, Marcus Allen, after Cleve Montgomery's 27-yard punt return in the first quarter, scored from 1 yard out. A penalty against the rookie defensive back Torrey Nixon of the Redskins gave the Raiders a safety to make it 9-0. But then Washington, after Wilburn's pass interception, a touchdown throw from Theismann to Don Warren, makes it 9-7 at the intermission. And we haven't seen John Riggins yet.
No, we haven't seen the Diesel on the field yet. We've seen some good runs from George Rogers, and I expect we'll see some of him coming up. But quite a few mistakes in that first half, something we expect out of a game like this. A lot of youngsters in there, and we're going to see a lot of people in the second half, I think, Dick.
Well, that's the good news and the bad news. I guess everyone likes to see the new faces, and with so many in uniform and the fact they have to cut down on Tuesday, about a third of the roster will be lopped off.
A lot of people going. As we said, these teams will have to cut. Redskins have the edge, as they do throughout in yardage from the first quarter, but that has switched now with some of those good passes from Plunkett in the second quarter. You notice 126 yards total by the Raiders. It's a very close ball game, and of course that big touchdown play at the end of the game, getting things back on par, and the turnover set that up. That was a pass from Marcus Allen, ill-advised, I think, as it dropped firmly into the arms of a Redskin.
And the second half underway. Sammy Seal, 15, and doesn't make it to the 20-yard line. Good coverage by the Redskins, and that was one of the top priorities of Joe Gibbs, to improve his special teams. He was not happy with the 84 performance of the special units. J.C. Pearson made the tackle.
We talk about headhunters, about those who are really coming down there with a vengeance. Number 59 right there, Jeff Pegues. Bang. Oh. It's Dick, one of the things about sitting up here that I really like, I don't have to take that kind of hits anymore.
And don't even have to hear the sounds, which are tough enough.
Pegues missed last year with an injury. He's happy to have a chance to show his stuff again this year.
Mark Wilson, new quarterback, and he throws it wide of Dokie Williams at the 30-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 10. Vernon Dean, cornerback, who led the Skins with 7 interceptions last year on the coverage. Wilson, now in his 6th year out of Brigham Young, where he was the man between Gifford Nielsen and Jim McMahon. And that string of BYU quarterbacks continues with Robbie Bosco. Actually, Cherry, the man we're talking about, the Redskins, was number 2 in the Western Athletic Conference to Bosco last year, so he was a good quarterback. Wilson off balance, but gets it away complete to the 25 to Clay Montgomery. That'll be short of a first down by 3, 7 yards on the play.
One of the advantages that Mark Wilson has is his height at 6'6", able to see over the on-rushing defensive lineman and get that ball in the air. Redskins defensively putting a big line in there. I've been watching Dave Butts. Butts, a holdout, came in a little bit late, not quite in shape yet, and his tongue is hanging out a little bit in this ball game.
Listed at 295. 3rd and 3. Fumble, and picked up by Kevin Belcher, a rookie from Wisconsin. 6'5" and 300 pounds when he came into the Raiders camp, but he's already down to 282.
Well, he's dropped some weight off, and very quickly they're going to have to turn the ball over. I asked Mark Wilson, and one of the things you worry about in a quarterback is hand strength. And I said, did that thumb injury weaken your hand? He said, no, I'm healed from that. That's not going to be a problem for me. But you saw right there what happens when you don't squeeze that football.
2 yards on the return of the fumble by Belcher, but from the 15-yard line, it's 4th and 13, and guy kicking from, well, we'll receive the ball from the goal line, kick from around the 5. Mike Nelms at the other end, and the veteran retreats to the 34, to the 40. Nice move, and out to the 50 comes Nelms. Played his college ball at Baylor. 52-yard punt, and a good return of about a dozen by Nelms.
Line drive punt, dangerous punt. Nelms fighting for a job as a returner, also having a chance to play with some wide receiver, but he's again a big name who might find himself in the squeeze here, Nick.
Go back to Belcher, the 300-pounder down to 282. You had a story you were sharing with us yesterday. Maybe we get time, we'll get into that. Jay Schrader who played his college football here at the Coliseum for UCLA before they moved over to the Rose Bowl, is the new quarterback. Keith Griffin drilled after a couple of yards. Good tackle made by Sean Jones.
Dick, one of the things you do this time in training camp, your big people have to get down to shape. And you mentioned Belcher taking off all that weight. I remember a young man by the name of Sonny Fonz came in at 326, dropped all the way down to 265. I found him crying in the locker room one day. I said, Sonny, what's wrong? He said, look at me. Look at how small I am. My mother's not even going to recognize me.
2nd and 7 for Jay Schrader. Anthony Jones, and he fumbles, and it's the pickup by number 24, Stephone Adams, and he's finally out of bounds at the 26-yard line. Anthony Jones drilled, and Stephone Adams, the 3rd-round pick from East Carolina of the Raiders, has the recovery.
Well, it was Stephone Adams, you might remember, that earlier was victimized on that play where he caused an interference that put the ball in shape to get into the end zone. Right here, he's making amends, making a big play on the other side.
And the hit, Stacy Toran, 2nd-year man from Notre Dame. Art McNally, Joe Ryan, and Val Pinchbeck of the NFL office are studying the videotape replay. There they are in the Coliseum press box, and that is something, just an experiment. No decisions would be seriously made from that this year. Wilson fumbles again, and who's got it this time? It looks as if the Raiders covered at the 35-yard line. Dexter Manley coming through to drill Wilson from the blind side, and he's shaking the cobwebs.
Mark took that shot from a wide open Dexter Manley, and that's such a dangerous thing. Teams put their most aggressive pass rushers whenever possible on the blind side of the quarterback, and this is the perfect example of it. Wilson just didn't even feel him coming. Look at his head snap. Manley putting that helmet right to the back. You saw Dave Butts fighting for that football, but it was one of the offensive linemen, I believe, for the Raiders that eventually covered it. Mark is going to stay in the game. Shakes his head a few times.
Actually, as an experimental basis here in the preseason, only based on the replays that we would use normally will that crew from the NFL office decide maybe if an official has made a mistake they could correct a play immediately, but that will not carry over into the regular year. I hope they never use television to decide the close plays. So error is human, and very few mistakes are made. Wilson cross court, and it's going to be intercepted. No, he did not have control. Vernon Dean had it for a moment, but did not maintain possession.
Absolutely the most dangerous pass you can throw. When you throw all the way back across that field, that ball hangs forever. And I think Wilson's still a little groggy from that hit. That ball stays up a long time and wobbles. He didn't get that one off firmly. Receiver able to get over and interrupt that. He becomes a defensive back. Now, you saw a good play there. Good job by Dokie Williams, who, as I said, becomes a defensive back in that situation. Good enough hit to knock the ball from Vernon Dean's hands.
3rd and 19. Wilson stays on the ground, and Derek Jensen, and he loses 5 more, and that might just put the Raiders out of field goal range. And Dexter Manley, what a series he had.
Manley settling down from the old days when he wore his mohawk haircut, and he has really been a colorful character in the NFL. He's talking about 50-year players really coming on to make an impact. So this is the time for him to show the world what Dexter Manley can do.
Well, that's good defense. A loss of 15 yards pushes the Raiders out of field goal range, and Ray Guy will kick from around midfield. Aiming it toward the sidelines, and he hits the sidelines. A good kick. And now they'll mark it to the 12-yard line, just inside the 12. Guy not happy with that, would like to have had more, and a flag is down. We'll play it from the 20-yard line. The Redskins duck a bullet as the fumble recovery. Well, 2 superb plays by Dexter Manley denied the Raiders a chance at a field goal, so it remains 9-7 with 10:50 left in the 3rd quarter. Jay Schrader handing off to Keith Griffin for about 5. As they unpile, we see some new names and new numbers. Jamie Kimmel, the 4th-round draft pick, number 90 from Syracuse, made the tackle with help for the Raiders. See Dave Stalls, a veteran defensive tackle, is in the game. Squirek, Bill Packel, Sean Jones, 57 Tony Caldwell's in at a linebacker spot. Turan, Ricky Williams, Sammy Seal, and Stephon Adams, a very young defensive secondary. That's Caldwell dragging down Griffin shy of the first down. It'll be 3rd and 2.
Redskins very high on both Jay Schrader and Dave Laufenberg. And I'll tell you, talking to Jerry Rome, who's the quarterback coach, he said it's going to be tough to have to choose one of these young men. But again, that roster limitation means that they're going to have to turn one of those youngsters loose. Right now, it looks like Schrader has the edge after a fine performance last week.
Mass substitutions. Wansley and Rogers in on 3rd and 2. And Rogers has the first down and more all the way to the 40-yard line. So Joe Gibbs showing a card there. He had young people in the game, and suddenly on 3rd and 2, he brought in the first unit and got 12 yards out of Rogers.
Explosive running here. Again, some excellent blocking by Wansley, number 38. But that's tough. You get that big body moving downfield. Rogers doesn't waste any time getting to the hole. And once he gets there, you notice how he stays low to the ground, protecting that football.
Trailing 9-7, the Redskins have a first down at their 40. Schrader. Good catch made by Joe Phillips, a rookie from Kentucky. Up high to spear that one, and comes down with 8 more Redskin yards.
A look from behind Schrader. He'll go back quickly, locating the receiver. Watch how high he gets up in the air to pull that down. Phillips doing an excellent job.
Sam Seal making the tackle. Schrader, who signed a pro baseball contract while at UCLA with Toronto. Blue Jays have a penchant for picking those good athletes. But Schrader did not develop as a ball player, although he had good skills. They tried him everywhere, including catcher. He said, in fact, he got Dwight Gooden a quick trip to the major leagues all the times he struck out against him in the minors. You know, that's interesting. Danny Ainge, Boston Celtics now, also drafted by the Blue Jays. Ainge goes on to basketball, and Schrader now has found his place in football behind Joe Theismann and is the favorite over Laufenberg to make that second spot. We'll probably see Laufenberg as well in the 4th quarter today. 3rd and 2. That's Michael Morton sprinting through a hole in the first down at the Raider 47. Stacy Turan made the tackle.
Very explosive running by Morton. Again, backs have to depend on each other. Talking about Wansley's blocking abilities. You see him right there, sacrificing his body. Morton right on his heels, getting that first down yardage.
9-7, Raiders. Halfway mark of the 3rd quarter. Rick Walker now the H-back. Griffin darting for about 5 more. 5'8" and 185, built just like his brother Archie. Now this is a time where the coaches really are letting some of the players cut themselves.
Well, I think they would love to have players make the roster from playing well. But you're right, Dick. They're looking for how players respond to the pressure on the field. And it's only in a game situation that you can really give the players that final test.
Griffin again. And he's out of bounds at the 39-yard line. That'll be shy of the first down. Bring up 3rd and about 2.
Talking about the rookies, number 90, Jamie Kimmel, shooting up from the inside, almost making a big play on that last go-round. You'll see him coming here from the middle, number 90. Watch him here. Gets around, driving to the outside, but Griffin using good speed to just outrun him and get beyond him. Tony Caldwell, number 57, finally pulling him down.
Redskins still out of field goal range. Griffin to the 36, and that will be a first down. Another 4 downs for Schrader, and basically a second unit Redskin offensive backfield, but they're keeping some of the big men, the stars up front.
Some of those hogs working into shape in there. Big Joe Jacoby, Russ Grimm, they still got that line in there, and it takes the big man a little bit longer to get in shape. I think the boss hog, Joe Bugle, has made it known that his big men are going to play a little longer this year. He wants a fast start.
10th play of the drive. Schrader, the quick toss to Rick Walker, veteran from UCLA, and he stopped just shy of the 30-yard line, a 6-yard.
Injury-free. But one of the things that happened last year, that big hog line went down to injuries, and it hurt the Redskins tremendously.
Michael Morton for a couple of yards on second down will bring up about a 3rd and 3. Other sports today on this Sunday as the pennant race continues. Giants.
3rd and a short 2 here for the first down.
Morton very close got to the 26-yard line, and depending on what he did under that pile, and we may well have a measurement here. Sean Jones, who also lettered in Rusty Hilger. Maybe Wilson did get nicked when he got that shot in the back. Schrader audibilizing as the wave has hit the Coliseum. Out of the backfield, nicely thrown to Morton, and what a good hit by Stacy Turan. Now there's a young man playing for a job. They drafted Stephon Adams in the 3rd round. Turan has to be looking around, and boy, did he make a hit.
Now some of you may wonder what it feels like to be in that defensive secondary. You ride that camera right with it. Fine play by Turan. Good anticipation, and even though the pass was well thrown, he was right up there to knock it down for a loss. 2nd 12.
Redskins now in field goal range, trailing by 2, 9-7. 3 minutes left, 3rd quarter. Griffin. And he's inside the 20 to the 18. Keith Griffin chewing up good yardage. Stephon Adams made the hit.
Good call from the sideline. The Raiders anticipating pass on 2nd and long, and they were coming after the quarterback. Griffin got the ball instead, found some room, and he is hanging on to that football. We talked about it earlier. Joe Gibbs told him in no uncertain terms, if you don't do that, you're not going to make this roster. They like his speed, they like his quickness, they like his competitive ability, and they like the fact that this year he's hanging on to the football.
Picked up about 10 on that play. Schrader batted down by Caldwell, number 57. Played his ball with the Huskies up in Seattle, University of Washington. That brings on the field goal unit and Mark Mosley, and they're counting him. In fact, a sheet is published by the Redskins comparing just about everything they do, including washing their hands. Mosley and Zendejas. And now it's Mosley with a chance, knowing that Zendejas missed from 39 yards in the first half.
We talked about a numbers game. I think the toughest number is the fact, let's let him kick it here.
And he misses to the right. So they both have missed, and maybe the pressure is getting to both of them. That one from 35 yards. So the Raiders still in the lead by 2. On the sidelines yesterday at practice, he was wearing a 30-pound vest while he practiced. He called it his psychological stamina stimulus. I can't even say it, and he did. Steve Strahan, a new running back. In fact, a pair of rookies now behind the quarterback Mark Wilson. Dan Reeder, the 5th-round draft pick out of Delaware, number 35, and Strahan, who played with Doug Flutie at Boston College and was the 11th-round selection of the Raiders. Less than 2 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. 2nd down and 7. Dan Reeder, absorbing a couple of tough hits, and he's out to the 27-yard line. Back to the kickers, Merlin, Zendejas and Mosley. That is an interesting story, and yet Did I not read correctly that Mosley had signed a 3-year contract with Washington?
Well, you did, but if you look carefully, you notice that nothing was guaranteed in that contract. Now, Zendejas has a contract that guarantees him $100,000 bonus and $50,000 to be delivered later. So really, it's pretty obvious that they're counting on this young man to unseat the veteran.
Drive by Strahan, and his second effort might have gotten him across the 30. I believe it did, and that will be a first down.
And just as a final note to that conversation about the kickers, Dick, it's a game of numbers, and I think the most critical numbers to look at are the ages of these two kickers. Mosley, 36 years old, Zendejas, 25, and they know that he'll get better.
Age isn't always kind, is it, especially in sport?
Well, and I think it's kind of unkind what's happened to Mosley. It's almost as if they've taken off his clothes and said, "Hey, here he is. Pick at him." He's had a great career in Washington.
He's a record holder. Charging through is Dan Rader, and he's out to the 40-yard line and close to another first down. And Rader, kind of interesting how you draft in terms of previous successes.
No question about that. There's a good job of running, and there's Cherry. We talked about him earlier. Rafael coming up. That wasn't the hit that he'll want to put in his personal file, however. Reeder doing a good job of blowing over the top of it.
Talk about forms. Well, Cliff Branch, 5'10", 170, exactly Hester's dimension as the final seconds roll off in the third quarter. How about Reeder, 5'11", 225, not built unlike Mark Van Eegen, is he?
Not at all.
And that is the end of the third quarter. We'll be back after these messages from your local 9-7 Raiders, and that's Reeder again. Oh, he does have the moves of Van Eegen. Those quick feet and good size, 225 pounds. And Reeder had one carry last week for 24 yards, chewing up some good yardage today. There are his marks with the Hens at Delaware, a 4.7-yard average, 6 touchdowns, picked 5th by the Raiders. At the 48-yard line, it's another Raider first down. Defensively for the Redskins, a whole second unit will try to get those names in for you after this play. This time, Strahan from Boston College, the '85 Cotton Bowl MVP, into Redskin territory at the 49. Larry Kubin, number 50, the tackler. For the Redskins, Todd Liebenstein, Dean Hamill, Perry Brooks, Steve Hamilton, the front four. Jeff Pegues, Larry Kubin, Monty Coleman at backers. Defensive secondary, Kevin Williams and Torrey Nixon at the corners. Tony Peters and Rafael Cherry at safety. There are the numbers now favoring the Redskins, but the score reads 9-7 Raiders. Wilson. And he hits his man on the sidelines, Tim Moffitt. Is he in bounds? No, incomplete. Moffitt, the third-round pick of the Raiders from Mississippi, wearing 83, and they like him. In fact, wasn't known other than the expert Lester Hayes on wide receivers said Moffitt reminds me of a young John Stallworth. He's got those gliding strides. He's got a second gear, and he says, doggone it, he put on a third gear the other day.
He has come on strong, injured in camp, and is doing better. You notice Tony Peters, the only starter still on the field for the Redskins. They know that they need him. They need some real leadership and performance out of him. They're giving him an extra time in this preseason game.
Flag is down. Wide open. Doki Williams. It's a touchdown unless the penalty's against the Raiders. What a great throw by Wilson. Doki Williams in stride. But they're calling for the football, and that one won't count. The second long bomb that the Raiders have lost today. Remember, in the first half, Jim Plunkett had a touchdown call back. Eligible man not on the end of the line. A tackle was uncovered.
And that's frustration for Tom Flores. Let's look at the play. It's a beautiful play. I don't think there's a prettier sight if you're a Raider fan, or an uglier sight if you're a Redskin fan, than that long bomb. And again, they're victimizing a very young secondary. That was Cherry trying to stay with one of the fastest receivers in all of football, Doki Williams. Doki just very explosive.
49-yard touchdown call back. Nullified in the first half was a Plunkett to Hester 56-yard play. Dan Reeder, and a flag down again, thrown by the linesman.
Dick, one of the things that we can have some fun watching, Don Mospar has been moved to center by the Raiders, and they have a great tradition. Let's let the call.
The ball twice.
Mospar was guilty. Moved the ball twice.
Well, he is not an experienced center, and I think he just missed the count on that one. But he had some trouble with his snap last week.
Couple of fumbles
Last week. So this week, Tom Flores, an ex-quarterback, went out and took some snaps himself from Mospar to help him. And he said, you know what's interesting? One of the problems we have is that Mospar has very short legs, even though he's a big man.
6'6", but his fanny is so low
Short
to the
legs,
ground.
he's very low to the ground, and of course Wilson is 6'6", so he almost has to bend way down to get underneath Mospar. Maybe we can take a look at that, but that's so critical and yet taken for granted. You've got to make the snap before you can get anything going.
All right, let's just see how low Wilson has to get. On the draw play, Strahan across the 45 to the 46, but that'll be about 11 yards short of a first down, and the Raiders will have to give up the ball. A rookie from Cal State Long Beach will try to root one out.
Barefooted and left-footed.
Nelms is deep. He slaps that one to the 10. He's going to get a good Raider roll, and it is down at the 3-yard line. Stephon Adams.
Oh, boy. He's put his name in the books a couple of times today.
During the football summer, and Jeff Carter, there is a Jeff Carter on every team in the league. A kicker has no chance of knocking Ray Guy out of a job, but he figures if he kicks well, maybe somebody else will like him. He's from the 49ers of Cal State Long Beach, and his kick today went 49 yards. He'll remember that.
I certainly would agree with you, but there's one factor that we could program into that, and that's injury. If a Ray Guy were injured, indeed, plans would change and he would make the roster. So that's something that we have to be amazed at, the fact that Guy just seems to get better and better. A kicker who's been around for so many years, performing at such a high level, and yet has such a good head and good athletic instincts that he continues to stay at that level.
Jay Schrader from the 6 to throw.
Good
hits
catch.
Art, what was that? Michael Morton out there in the flat. No, 91. Jamie Harris, a rookie from Oklahoma State.
Take a position.
11:49 left in this game. 9-7. The Raiders leading the Redskins. Schrader going long, but his receiver is going short. Harris was peeling back, and a flag is down. Dale Walters, a rookie from Rice. We've not seen him. It'll be Hayes, the veteran from Carolina. Cleve Montgomery been replaced. Or is that? Yeah, that is Montgomery at the 50. Dying spiral. Montgomery on the run at the 46 of the Redskins. Gets a couple to the 44. And with that, a timeout. 11 minutes and 26 seconds left in the fourth quarter. The Raiders by 2.
The kind of fun that we had and the kind of unpredictability in some of the wild men, but there are a few left. One of them is John Riggins. There may never be another Riggo in the game.
As he said this week at a press conference when they asked him about some of his off-season escapades where he fell asleep in some rather prestigious events in Washington, he said, I was a bad boy. But he is also bad to those defenses. The oldest player to rush over 1,000. He'll be the oldest running back in the league again this year.
He hasn't played today. That surprises us. Gibbs, I think, had anticipated getting him into the ballgame.
And while the Raiders trying to add to their 9-7 lead, it's Reeder plowing off his right guard to what appears to be a first down at the Redskin 33-yard line. Yeah, I'll never forget sitting next to his wife the day after he won the Super Bowl Most Valuable Player Award, saying, I hope he's taking time to enjoy the sunsets and rainbows. He said, oh, don't worry about the sunsets. He hadn't even been to bed yet.
Well, he is a piece of work. One of a kind.
He didn't miss a one. Too tall, and through the leaping try at Tim Moffitt at the 22-yard line. On first down as Wilson drilling that pass to Moffitt, who once scored 5 touchdowns in a game in which he played in high school and only played 5 minutes. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Los Angeles Raiders and the National Football League is prohibited. Second down, Strahan to the 30. A gain of 3. 3rd and 7 will be the call. Wilburn and others in on the tackle. Todd Liebenstein, veteran from Nevada, Las Vegas, key man on the play. And there's Strahan, who in high school high jumped 6'7" and a quarter. This man is built 6'1" and 215 from a family of 10, and he's the baby. You so often see that youngest of and fill in the blank, 10, 9, 7 children. That the young one has had to fight his way up and maybe has learned from the older siblings. So it is with Strahan. Going deep. Great defensive play made by number 34, Kevin Williams, a rookie from Iowa State, as Dokie Williams thought he had a touchdown, and a well-played corner position by Kevin Williams.
Timing is so critical for the defensive back. He timed that hit. Kevin Williams timing the hit to arrive with the football. A perfect pass by Wilson. He has to thread it because there's good coverage there. Watch it. The ball arrives, the hit takes place, and he shreds that ball loose from Williams. Williams comes up saying, that's illegal. You can't do that.
Chris Barr trying a 48-yard field goal. It is no good, and it has not been a sunny day for the field goal kickers. Barr joins Zendejas and Mosley in the miss. Redskins take over at their 30, trailing by only 2. Jay Schrader rolling, might run it. Yep. And he ducks out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Gain of 7 for Schrader. You weren't kidding when you said that he's also a long snapper and could conceivably play that role, but you would think with his size that would be asking for big trouble to put your backup quarterback with his head between his legs.
Well, I can tell you this, if I were a defensive coordinator and he were to do that during the regular season, I'd sure put a couple of big horses over his head in a hurry. I'd make him pay for those snaps.
2nd and 3. Morton has the first down. Michael Morton picks up about 6 to the 44-yard line. Jamie Kimmel, rookie from Syracuse, with a tackle. 9
down. Now, these last 2 cuts, well, really the last one is the toughest, but even now these 2 teams are going to have to cut some quality players.
Schrader again on the roll and drilling a fine throw to Joe Phillips, and close to another first down at the Raider 47-yard line.
Well, I think forward progress will easily give him the
it's
first
way beyond
down.
that. I thought they were marking it back here. No, it is a first down indeed at the 42-yard line, and that was a good throw by Schrader. That's a rifle arm. He really drilled that one in there.
I think if you talk to quarterback coaches, they'll tell you that probably the toughest pass for a quarterback to throw is running back against the strength of his arm. For a right-handed quarterback, that means running left, and that's exactly the pass that Schrader just threw.
Redskins trail 9-7 on a drive at the Raider 42. Not good timing on that throw to Jamie Harris, who had made his move but was late getting outside.
Dick, I know we have a big crowd of Washington fans, Redskin fans back in Washington, and we'd like to just take a second. We know that the Redskins lost one of their biggest fans this last week, Bill Marriott Sr., and we'd like to pass along our condolences to the Marriott family.
Patriarch of the Marriott Hotel family, and he was indeed a big pro football fan. Schrader on 2nd and 10, a quick dump off, and well done. 35, 30, 25, and all the way to the 23 goes veteran Jeff Moore, number 30 from Jackson.
Linebacker coming, has to put it over his head and get it into the hands of the running back.
Redskins are now in field goal range at the Raider 22. Ooh, solid hit, charging up from the secondary, Stacy Toran. That's a second excellent play he's made against the run, and he drilled Moore for a loss.
Tell you, difficult to crack that starting lineup in the defensive secondary. 3 out of 4 defensive secondary people in the Pro Bowl last year, and yet Turan and Stephon Adams have both performed extremely well in reserve capability today.
And James Davis, they said, has had the best camp of any of the Raider backs. 2nd and 12. Vincent Hall dragged down, maybe gained a yard. Tony Caldwell right on his heels, along with Jack Squirek.
I imagine the most nervous person on that Redskins sideline right now might be Tony Zendejas. It's his turn to come back in. He missed his first one. Watched Mosley.
Inside the 50, he was 24 for 27 in the USFL. 3rd and 11. Schrader, well thrown and out of bounds at the 12-yard line. It's going to be very close to a first down. They needed 11. That was an 11-yard play. Probably didn't require a measurement. Joe Phillips with a
during your game planning, and it's tough.
The other thing it does, Merlin, doesn't it? When you know you can roll out, it might take a little away from that straight in rush, so that when he does drop straight back, there might be a little hesitation. That buys him a second or two.
Well, when you roll back to the defense's right, too, you're rolling against the best pass rushers, and you can take them out of the play.
A first down for the Redskins at the 12. And he hits the sidelines man again, Joe Phillips. Hey, who is this guy, Nut? Well, we told you 160 names coming into this. Joe Phillips was not one of the 150 that we could cram on our 2 boards, and he's playing very well.
And he takes a real zipper here. Schrader putting some real power to that football. Joe goes up and hauls it in.
Wildcat from Kentucky, and he has his 4th catch today and 41 yards. It'll be 2nd and 2 for a first down, 4 yards away from a touchdown. And the lead, the Redskins have never been in front. Morton for a yard short of the first down.
The turf betrayed him there. He planted that right foot hard on that last step, and the turf went right out from underneath it. So he was not able to get through the hole for much at all.
But of course, in Washington, you could never use that as an excuse to Joe Gibbs, because you better be able to run on a soft turf if you're going to play at RFK. That's one of the strengths of Riggins, of course, his footing, being able to hold his ground.
Imagine how you'd feel right now if you looked up defensively to see Riggins and Rogers in that backfield.
Ooh. Big play for both sides. Morton has a touchdown. Washington leads for the first time. Four yards untouched, and the Redskins move up 13-9.
I think the Raiders expected that play to come inside. Sammy Seal, cornerback, coming up out.
The try for point is successful by Mosley, and with 4:55 left in the game, the Redskins 5-5. Drives, one that ended on a missed field goal, and the last for the touchdown to give the Redskins the lead. Zendejas skids his kick down to Clee Montgomery. And the little veteran is down at the 25-yard line, and now the pressure for the first time on the Raiders, who had led throughout 7-0, then 9-0, only to find the Redskins coming back with a couple of touchdowns here in the second half. And Mark Wilson, the pressure on him. Schrader, by the way, in that last drive was 4 for 5, 53 yards, and as you saw, 7 for 10 in the game. You know, the special teams are going to be burned a bit by the reduction 49 to 45, maybe more than a little bit. I have an inkling, Merlin. I want you, Merlin, to get your impression that we're going to see some long kick returns this year. Wilson hits his man, and it's Tim Moffitt, the rookie from Mississippi. That'll be a first down out at the 36-37. What do you think?
There's no question about the difficulty for these teams to establish their special teams, but it's going to take players like Rafael Cherry. You see him covering here, a young man who's going to have to carry a lot of responsibility during this year. Ooh, that's the kind of hits that they were excited about. But they're not going to have the special teamers who did nothing but play special teams, or at least not as many of them.
Wilson has a man open and misses. Number 86, Jeff McCall.
I talked to both Steve Ortmeyer and also Wayne Sevier, the two special teams coaches, and they expect that their job will be tougher and that the numbers on special teams will not be as good. In other words, they won't be able to control their opponents as well as they have in the past.
Which, those of you who like the long runs, we might see more kick and punt returns for touchdowns, or at least long gainers. Some of the turf showing the wear and tear of the afternoon's play. 4:12 left. 2nd and 10. Oh, what a catch! A one-handed stab by Doki Williams. Williams from UCLA, and he has had an excellent summer. He caught 4, for a touchdown last week.
We gave you a peek at Cliff Branch on the sideline earlier. There are those who wonder why Doki Williams hasn't been given an opportunity to step into that starting lineup. It's plays like that that very well may earn him that opportunity.
He has something else going for him. He's basically left-handed, and Lester Hayes says he's so tough to cover because all of his moves are off the left side, where almost 95% of the receivers are right-handed. Well, that is just a direct hit on Bobby Johnson from San Jose State, as the defense of the Redskins, spearheaded by Stuart Anderson and that front four.
Redskins eager to get a shot in there. You get a feeling. I'd say there's a lot of camaraderie on this Redskin team. Look at Cherry cheering for his defensive teammates there.
Raiders are going to go for it on 4th and 2 at their own 45-yard line with 2:56 left. Williams far left. Moffitt split left. On the blitz, Wilson is down at the 33, and the Redskins have the ball. Stuart Anderson back to back. The 4-year veteran from Virginia making outstanding plays.
A delayed blitz by Cherry coming up the middle, and they had to drop in and pick him up. Stuart Anderson came in untouched.
14-9 Redskins. There are 2 touchdowns here in the second half, and Jay Schrader still at quarterback, taking over at the Raider 34. Morton, the last touchdown maker, is down just shy of the 30-yard line with 2:37, 2:36 in the clock running.
Schrader would love to be able to run this clock out, either give Zendejas a chance of the last field goal, which would put them out of sight, or perhaps get another touchdown. It's been a great day for him.
Looking back, penalties have hurt the Raiders again today. 2 touchdown passes, 2 bombs called back. 156 yards Plunkett to Jesse Hester in the first half, and here in the second half, Wilson hit Doki Williams 49 yards. Both of those plays called back on holding calls, or the Raiders would have been well ahead. Next week, we've got a terrific Saturday for you, and NBC Sports will have, from the NFL side, the Miami Dolphins. Don Shula and his Dolphin Club will be here at the Coliseum to take on the Los Angeles Raiders. And of course, that's just capping off a busy sports Saturday on NBC. 9 o'clock Eastern time for the football coverage. And then earlier in the day, you'll also see our Major League Baseball game of the week. Most of you will see the Detroit Tigers, the defending baseball champions, at Anaheim against the California Angels.
The Raiders haven't been pikers in starting this season. Starting off with the 49ers, San Francisco 49ers, head-to-head with the Washington Redskins. Next week, Miami Dolphins.
Well, Al Davis feeling you might as well find out if you're going to test your rookies and the new players. You better see how they do against the best.
I believe it's a good way to do it.
Time was called by the Raiders to stop the clock with 2:22 remaining. And of course, now with a 2-minute timeout, that's as if they have another timeout to use. It's 2nd down and 8. I would say that as we see Mosley and Zendejas wearing out a path as they walk back and forth on the sidelines, and now Mosley taking a practice kick. Whether he's kicking or not, I think those fellas are opposite ends of the bench, and they're both ready.
It will be Zendejas' turn, so Mosley just kind of hoping, I think, to get a shot at it. Well, and I think it's Zendejas on the extra point, too, because I believe no, it's Mosley on the extra point, Zendejas on the field.
We're all confused.
Well, there we go. Well,
the tackle made in the backfield, but Sean Jones might have been offside. Either He timed it perfectly, or
No, I think he had 3 steps before they snapped the ball, Dick.
he only missed by 3. Huh?
Wouldn't it be nice to be that quick?
Let's watch him.
Yeah, he's well.
Defense was offside, number 99.
That's Schrader. Schrader just barely looked up. He said, wait a minute, I know they can't get to me that quick.
Was he in our huddle?
I'll tell you, both these teams share a common concern, though, and that is their offensive lines did not perform up to capability last year. The Redskins, in part because of a lot of injuries, and certainly the Raiders did not get the kind of performance out of their big offensive line. And both coaches have talked about the importance of improving performance there. You've got to control the line of scrimmage if you're going to win.
And you also saw that
Humidity about 99%, and I lost 24 pounds during the game itself. I was drinking liquids as fast as I could during the game itself, and I came very close a number of times in the game to passing out. In fact, I went over one time to talk to the trainer, and I said, you got a stretcher here? He said, yeah. I said, you got an ambulance here? And he said, yep. I said, good. I may need them.
had the presence of mind to make sure everyone was
I just
ready.
wanted to know if they were ready.
Zendejas. It will be his turn to kick. Each of the 2 Washington competitors for that one job have missed. Zendejas from 39 and Mosley from 35. Meanwhile, he may not have a chance for the field goal because the Redskins continue to move the ball well and benefit from that 5-yard penalty at 2nd and 3. Washington leads 14-9. Morton stopped cold right at the line of scrimmage. Good defensive charge from 56 Jeff Barnes from California, the veteran. And the timeout called by the Raiders, their second, with 1:55 left.
Introducing a new.
So it's 3rd and 4. Schrader going to run it, and he's nailed at the 30-yard line by Jack Squirick. Oh, the Redskins know that name. Remember the Super Bowl and the play just before the half when Squirick picked off that little flare pass from Theismann and in essence put it away for the Los Angeles Raiders. 56,939 tickets sold. Actually 48,004 in attendance on this warm afternoon. And now the drama continues. The play involving the 2 place kickers. Theismann is in to hold for Tony Zendejas, and it'll be a fairly long try.
Timeout.
Timeout is called first by the Raiders. Recapping the scoring, Marcus Allen capped a short drive by the Raiders to give them a 7-0 lead with a 1-yard run. And then a safety call on a penalty in the end zone against the Redskins made it 9-0, and that was the score at the half. The Redskins came back just before the end of the first half on a Warren touchdown reception with Theismann on the throwing end, 9-7. And here in the second half, Jay Schrader has certainly been a bright spot for the Redskins. He did most of the passing, but when the touchdown time came, it was a handoff to Michael Morton, who got the 6, and the Redskins lead 14-9. And now on 4th down and long, it will be approximately a 47-yard attempt by Zendejas. If he misses, boy, that really throws that kicking job up in the air. If he makes it from 47 with some pressure on, that would impress, of course, the Redskins staff.
Zendejas has excellent range, and in the last 2 years has made 70% of his kicks. He knows this turf, too.
Partially blocked. It is blocked, and the Raiders have the football at the 28-yard line. Right up the middle came one of the Raiders, and Zendejas' kick is smothered, and the Raiders have a chance with 1:39 left.
Dick, I believe that kick was low. I don't think that kick was high enough to clear the line of scrimmage. Let's watch and see if he doesn't get into it a little bit on the low side. Now he got some height on it. One of the Raiders just got penetration.
Watch 97. Watch. Well, it's hard to say. There were so many, but Rick Ackerman, 97, had good penetration, but could have been several players that were in there.
I wonder what is going through Mosley's mind. You know, that's really a tough situation.
Hey, you've got to be rooting against him.
You've got to root against him.
Mark Wilson goes to work and hits Tim Moffitt. Moffitt dragged back toward the Raider goal line, but they'll allow progress to the 40, and that would be a first down. The Raiders are out of timeouts.
Raiders must now go into their 2-minute offense, and this is really a disadvantage. Clock will keep ticking on down. No way to stop it.
And they need a touchdown to win. It's 14-9 Redskins. They stay in the field of play. This one complete to Jeff McCall. 11 more yards to the Redskin 49-yard line.
Wilson hurries them to the line, makes his audible call
in the final minute. He eludes the rush, and there the incomplete pass that stops the clock with 51 seconds, intended for Tim Moffitt.
Steve Hamilton from that right defensive end position had his sights right on Wilson and just flat missed him. Well, I tell you, he'll die when he looks at the films tomorrow.
At 6'6", even when Wilson ducks, there's still plenty to hit. Well, they lost about a length of the football on the re-spot. Now it's right on the 50. 14-9, Washington leads. The Raiders looking for a last-minute score. Wide open is McCall again. He fumbles. The Redskins have it, and with it, undoubtedly, this preseason game.
2 weeks in a row, Dick. The Raiders have had a chance in the final seconds. Hilger had an opportunity on the kick last week, the onside kick, to come back and win it in the final seconds. They get an opportunity here after the blocked field goal, and both times Tom Flores and his Raiders have come up short.
McCall hit hard, and he coughs it up, perhaps trying to get a little bit more than he should.
Not tucking that ball away. We mentioned earlier Joe Gibbs conversations with Keith Griffin about hanging on to the football. I'm sure that Tom Flores will have one with McCall.
And now it's a matter of Schrader. As soon as he kneels now, in the final 2 minutes, another rule this year, as soon as the quarterback has his knee on the ground, the play is over, period. And that probably the last play. They have not marked it yet, and they do now, and so the Redskins do not have to run another play. This game is over. The Washington Redskins have beaten the Los Angeles Raiders 14-9, and an impressive second half from their backup quarterback Jay Schrader, and good defensive work on both sides.
Well, it's certainly a game, and I mentioned it earlier. Both these coaches had to be very concerned going in. They didn't want to get key people hurt. And we talked about the fact that the Redskins lost Ken Coffey last week, and he'll be out for the season. Well, luckily, both teams, as far as we know, have gone through injury-free and have played pretty good football. Not championship quality football, but considering the number of substitutions, not a bad football game for Coach Joe Gibbs and Coach Tom Flores.
Now Gibbs, he's 2-0, beating Atlanta and the Raiders. Flores is 0-2, the 49ers and the Redskins. And we'll be back after these messages from your local station.